What's up, guys? I'm Ken Nowitzki, and you were listening to The Sharp Cut from the Iron Edge. There's days where I feel like I am so tired of being a version of myself that people expect me to be. And the funniest part of it is that that expectation is entirely made up in my head. I think we become what we are and what we involve ourselves in. For me, over the last decade, whenever anybody met me, like my biggest, quote unquote, introduction points would have been either, hey, this is Ken, he's competes in strength sports, he's a pro strongman, whatever, or this is Ken, he runs Cerberus USA. That was my opener from, two people or whatever. And that's just not true anymore. I stopped competing in strongman about 4 years ago, roughly. Not because I wanted to, if I'm all completely honest with you. But because I just couldn't keep it going. I'd been competing in strongman since I was 17 years old. And at 34, my body just couldn't fucking handle it. It's almost like I threw so much at it over those years that it got to the point where it didn't matter what I did recovery-wise or, training-wise. It just couldn't fucking keep going. And essentially everything came to a head. I went and did a local competition to basically get myself back in a mindset of competing again. And I detached my proximal bicep with a 150-pound keg press. Something I had done crazy so many times in my career. But it was like my body was revolting. It took me a long time, it took me years, honestly, to start to outgrow that version of myself that I thought people expected to meet, so to speak. And I'll always be a strongman. There's just no two ways about it. I might not be on the competition field, but in my fucking heart, I will always be that athlete. And I'll go to OSG every year with Cerberus, and I stand there for the weekend, and I watch these guys guys and girls, knock their pans in all weekend long. And I stand there and I go, man, I could still fucking go. I could still go. I can still do this shit. And I start thinking about it more, and like that competitive drive starts to kick up. And then I remember the stuff like the injuries and the frustration of coming home after getting fucking hurt again, and how it ruined me mentally for days, weeks. I have to be honest with you, I got to this point where I started to understand that I was almost like resenting myself. I was resenting myself that I couldn't be that anymore. I couldn't be what all these people had met and what they, in my mind, expected. And that's okay, because you can still be all of that while growing into this new version. Stopping competing in strongman was one of the best things that happened for me, because now it allowed me to explore different things. I snowboard weekly now, in the winter, obviously. I hike with my wife in summer. I travel more. I still come into the gym multiple times a week and knock my fucking pan in. I still watch what I eat. I still have some of these disciplined mindsets, but I've evolved, and I've allowed myself to evolve, and I've allowed myself to dissociate from this box that I thought I was, and that I was like contained in for so many years. And I think there's this part of all of us that we get sort of sucked in to what we do for a long period of time. And especially for an athlete, I think once we then step back from that, it sort of fucks us mentally for quite a while if we're not careful, because then you're like, oh, well, shit, what do I do now? I can't compete anymore. What do I do? Who am I? Still the same person. You might lift a little bit less, but you're still the same fucking person at your core. Instead of sitting here and getting frustrated with what everybody expects, start to reinvent yourself. Start to rebuild that identity intentionally. And you don't have to start going from posting about strongman on day one, and then suddenly on day 3, now there's no more strongman posts and there's painting or whatever it is. You can have everything. But the biggest part of this is that you got to stay respectful to who you are in your heart of hearts, and to build yourself and to allow yourself to be that person, to allow that identity and that version of yourself to actually be real and honest with yourself, and to let that expression of self come out. I know this has probably been a fucking big ramble to some of you, and I'm sure there's other people who listen to this who completely understand where I'm coming from. And some days I feel that. Some days I know exactly where I'm coming from, and other days I feel like I'm rambling through my identity and I don't know who the fuck I am. But on top of it all, the number one point that I want to make is that I'm choosing who I am now, and I'm starting to really invest in that person versus stay stuck in the box that I was for 15 years. I can still have that box. It can be in the shelf, but there can be other boxes with it, and that's okay. So, thank you for coming and listening to my ramblings. If you got something from this, I really hope that a lot of you did. If you didn't, catch us down the road. I'm sure it'll be something that you relate to in the future. Thank you, guys. Catch you in the next one.